recommendations as well is being asked by the council to be taking on issues relating to this to ensure the success of the measures being rolled out by management of the university. Beyond that as well, no events should be organized by students, and no event should be held for the remainder of the 2021-2022 academic year without the express approval of the Dean of Students Affairs. Then we also know that students who are offered places in the halls of residence should be made to sign undertakings to be of good behavior. Then there's the point 3, which is a directive indicating that to ensure accountability of hall officials to university authorities, the Vice-Chancellor should appoint key officers in all of the halls of residence based on recommendations from the halls in a similar way that actually heads of departments are appointed. To this end, a standard procedure for the election or appointment of hall officials should be addressed in the ongoing revisions of the university statutes. Then at point 5, the council is indicating that the composition of the Commonwealth and Mensah halls should be reviewed. That's also becoming a point of controversy. But management of the 2 affected halls are also being directed that they need to be held accountable for the actions and the inactions of the leadership for that persistent riot that we keep seeing, because this amounts to perhaps the second time in almost the space of a year where we're recording all of these clashes. Now, at point 7, the University Council is also indicating that the Hall Master and Senior Tutor of the Commonwealth Hall have not exhibited sufficient willingness and ability to hold students of the hall accountable for their action in the recent clashes that we observed on campus. And these officers should therefore, and this is where the directive is coming from, in the interim, be relieved of their duties while management works with the security services to investigate the clashes and towards finding lasting solutions to the tension between the students and the 2 halls. Now, Commonwealth Hall is also to be surcharged with the cost of damages to property in the vicinity of the Mensah Sarbah Hall in the wake of the recent clashes that were recorded on campus. So these are some of the wide-range decisions that we're getting from the council, but the final one is also indicating that the Junior Common Room JCR presidents of the Commonwealth and Mensah Sarbah halls should be referred to the disciplinary committee for junior members for their actions and inactions feeding or actually leading to all of these riots. Well, some students of the hall this afternoon converged in front of the hall chanting and actually demanding the reversal of the management's decision. My colleague Gukwa Santi engaged some of them earlier today.
So the situation has calmed on campus at the moment. About an hour ago, residents of Commonwealth Hall converged right here in front of the hall, chanting that their hall master and their senior tutor, who have all now been suspended by the governing council of the university, should be reinstated before they would go back. When the situation happened, a number of policemen drawn from the Greater Accra Regional Police Command were here together with campus security to try and resolve the situation and get the residents to go back in there. They didn't succeed at the time because the residents said they were not going back until that decision was taken back. But after some talks with some leadership of the hall, they decided to go back. The story is that a few weeks back, there were clashes between residents of Commonwealth Hall and Mensah Sarbah Hall that led to the destruction of some properties, including cars that were burnt over there at Sarbah. Also, the statue of Mensah Sarbah that is right in front of the hall was also destroyed. Management decided to investigate the situation and try and bring the perpetrators to book. The governing council of the university met over the situation and announced a raft of measures, including the suspension of the 2 top officials of Commonwealth Hall, as well as deciding to surcharge residents of Commonwealth Hall for the damages that were caused. That is what the Commonwealth Hall residents are not happy about. They say if this was a clash, it presupposes that there were 2 factions to the situation, and so the punishment or any decision at all must affect both. They are wondering why the senior tutor, as well as the hall master of Commonwealth Hall, will be suspended and that of Mensah Sarbah Hall will not be suspended. They are also asking questions. Why are you surcharging residents of Commonwealth Hall to pay for the damages? And why are you not doing same for Mensah Sarbah Hall residents? Another sticking point of this whole issue regarding the statement that was put out by management having to do with the recomposition of the halls. We know that a few years back, management tried to convert Commonwealth Hall to a mixed hall because of the clashes that kept happening between Commonwealth Hall as well as Mensah Sarbah Hall. They did not succeed at the time because Old Vandals Association and some well-meaning Ghanaians kicked against that decision. It appears that is back on the burner now. According to that statement from the Governing Council, they are going to look into that and take a decision. Residents are also asking, Sarbah Hall is already a mixed hall. If you are deciding to vary the composition, what exactly are you going to do? It means Commonwealth again will be the only hall that will be affected. And so they are asking all these questions and asking management to come out and explain to them, as well as taking a decision to reinstate the senior tutor as well as the hall master of the hall. We know now that officials of the Ghana Police Service are holding a meeting, crunch meeting, with some management of Commonwealth Hall to try and bring this situation under control. What we know is that it will take some time before calm is eventually restored. But for now, the residents have all moved back into the hall and they are awaiting the kind of decision that will come up from the meeting between their management as well as the Ghana Police Service.
The school management isn't being fair with Commonwealth Hall in the sense that they released a communique that University Council decision on clashes between students of Commonwealth Hall and Mensah Sarbah Hall. Yet you've been able to pass judgment. This is not done anywhere. The composition of Commonwealth Hall and Mensah Sarbah should be reviewed. Mensah Sarbah Hall is already a mixed hall. So what are you telling us? It means you are directly saying that Commonwealth Hall composition is going to be reviewed. In what sense? Going to make it to a mixed hall? No, they lie bad.
That is why it makes no sense. That's why it is ludicrous. I have not been part of the violence, and so why am I being surcharged? For what reason? What situation? Or what are some of the evidence that points to the fact that violence has been sanctioned by Commonwealth Hall? Now, you sanctioning or relieving the hall master and hall tutor from, have they sanctioned any violence?
And for sanity to prevail and for peace to come back to this, I think the right thing must be done. They have to recant the decision that they have taken by recalling our hall master and our hall tutor back to their post.
We are not going to sit down and allow management to pass a biased judgment. We as vandals are out to express our total discretion on what management is saying.
From the cameras and from all the except that they have, I don't think they have been able to point to even extrapolate a scintilla of evidence against any vandal. So why should they come to this hasty conclusion?
All right, my colleague Kuku Asante there with a wrap of activities on campus today. He'll be joining me shortly with updates on that. But fortunately, I've been joined now by security analyst Adam Bona, who joins us via Zoom. He actually chaired a similar committee set up by the VC of the University of Ghana to investigate similar clashes in the past. Mr. Bona, thank you for your time. So a meeting is underway. I'm definitely sure that you're going to be part of such deliberations. But even before you go into the engagements, what do you make of the update so far and the decision by the Council of the University? Mr. Bona, if you can hear me, I'm just asking about the latest that we're getting and also the issue relating to that meeting which is underway. I'll come to you shortly for your responses on that, but I also need to point out that Kweku Asante has been on campus all throughout the day. And Kweku, you know much more about this because of what transpired even when you were on campus. So I'll come to you shortly, but I guess Mr. Bona is ready for us. Doc, if you're with us, okay, so we'll try and rectify that quickly. Quickly, let's talk about the years past and what normally accounts for this perennial clash between Mensah Sarbah and the Commonwealth Hall. How did it all start?
So, Blessed, it's been very difficult to put a finger on why and what exactly is causing that kind of rift between residents of Commonwealth and Sarbah students. Because, indeed, Sarbah is a little bit of an offshoot of Commonwealth Hall. When Sarbah was built, they brought some of the residents from Commonwealth Hall to build it. So there are those who expect that there will be that kind of brotherly relations between those two halls. It has not been over the years. But what has happened is, normally when these attacks happen, both sides will say that this member of our hall was attacked by this member or by this group of students, and then there will be reprisals. Then these students will go around trying to pick the law and put it in their own hands and, as it were, exact justice in their own way. Management has not been able, over the years, to put a lid on the situation. They've had a number of situations and a number of scenarios trying to deal with it. It hasn't succeeded so far. A few years back, they tried to change Commonwealth or the composition of the hall to a mixed hall, because they thought if you brought more girls, quote unquote, then the gentlemen who will usually be doing this violence, the numbers will be reduced and all that.
And just for the purposes of those who may not get the context of this, why is it so much of a big deal when you talk about Commonwealth Hall and even the decision to change them into a mixed hall in the first place?
So these two halls battle for what they call the supremacies in the hall. It is something that exists in most of the public tertiary institutions. It's in KNUST, it's also in UCC, where you have the CASFOR, the Katangas, and all those things. So if you go to University of Ghana, Commonwealth Hall, they pride themselves as the lords of campus. So they actually call all other halls colonies. They say that they are the vandals, they are the leaders, and everything must come secondary to them. Then there, in Sabah, there is something called the Republic of Okponglu, which is the quote-unquote vandal arm of Mensah Sarbah Hall. That is all male. They have the systems, just like Commonwealth Hall. They have a chief. They have, they call them Okpo lords. They have the hierarchy that just exists like you have in Commonwealth Hall. You have chief vandals, so people like Clement Apak, Egbert Febo, and all those people from the past have all gone through. So these two halls are battling for supremacy at most occasions. So what happens is, recently, Mensah Sarbah Hall was holding their Okpo Week, where they went around campus on a procession. Commonwealth Hall also go on a procession sometimes. Then there are clashes between these two halls. Sometimes it beats imaginations why people who are in a university will go to the extent of doing those things, burning cars, and the kind of decisions they take within those split seconds. The university has always tried to put a lid on the situation. It hasn't succeeded so far. And more than 50 years since Commonwealth was established, these clashes still do recur. So it is something that management will be hoping that this raft of measures that they've taken now, including the suspension of the hallmaster and the senior tutor, which residents of Commonwealth completely disagree with, and they masked up right in front of the hall, just like we've seen in the videos. Clearly so not happy.
And then the other decision by the council to indict the hallmaster. Why is that becoming a big deal?
So if you look at the halls, Commonwealth Hall, for instance, elects their own hallmaster from the hall council, the whole fellowship. So the hallmaster and the senior tutor are mostly always old vandals. So the current hallmaster,
is also a vandal.
Is an old vandal. The senior tutor is an old vandal. So members now feel like there's an attack on us, because if you are attacking one vandal, then you are getting to all of
In fact, it's about to get interesting, but let's bring in Dr. Bona now. Doc, you are about to enter some engagements. I'm suspecting in relation to all of this, but even before such engagements begin, you've chaired a similar committee before. What recommendations did you make? And would you say that management put that into action, for which all of this should have been averted in the first place?
Well, thank you very much. It is difficult for me to go into the recommendations or my committee's reports. And the reason is that the university has not put out the report is not in the public domain. And so I wouldn't want to go in there. I would need the permission of the university to do that. But be that as may, I would say that, you know, during the interaction with those we invited to come and meet the committee when we start for the several days we did. You know, some of the things that came up has to do with what we are seeing today. You know, where you have hallmasters and tutors who owe no allegiance, whose allegiance is actually to their hall and not the university. And so some of the suspended and those who have been relieved of their position today, when some of them were invited, initially, the gesture and what do you call it, their stance, you know, almost looked like They saw nothing. They didn't see anything. They didn't feel anything. They didn't smell anything. Meanwhile, buses and destruction to university property had occurred. And if you are a hall master, a hall tutor, you have school or students who are in your care. And therefore, even if someone whispered something into your ears, that something has gone untoward, it is incumbent on you to go around and investigate. And so for some of them to have been invited to my committee and they actually, almost went like they didn't know what went on. It didn't happen at their hall, at Commonwealth Hall, and therefore they cannot speak to it. For me, that was sad.
Right.
And so as far as I'm concerned, some of us have preempted, after handing over the report to the university. Some of us actually, generally made the university aware that if measures are not put in place, one day some rogue students, with the tacit support of senior members of the university, are likely to go around with, tanker filled with petrol, pour it all over the university and burn everybody, including they themselves, because then you have students who, not all of them, some of them who are most likely to take the law into their hands, and they don't care. They don't care what happens. Nothing would happen to them.
Right.
And so, as far as I'm concerned, these remedial measures the university is putting in place is right. I think they should go forward and ensure that these things are enforced.
Okay, you support the position of the council, but as a security analyst as well, some have criticized the decision of the council as lacking emotional intelligence. Why stoke the fire when, of course, the tempers are yet to calm down? I guess that's the immediate concern of some of the members of the Commonwealth Hall, particularly knowing how they hold their whole, and that all-male nature of it in high esteem.
Well, I think the all-male nature of it is beautiful. But if something is beautiful and you try to dent it, you try to, paint it with all manner of stuff, then the beautiful nature of it would be diminished. And as far as I'm concerned, I support the decision of the university management and council 100%. Anyone who was part of my committee, strangely enough, the now Dean of Students, Professor Rosina Tremantin, was part of my committee. You had Professor Bebio. There were several senior members of the university who were on my committee. And the kind of things we had, I cannot put them out there because I don't have the university's permission to put them out there. But as far as I'm concerned, if the university and the council, if they don't sit together with the students and ensure that it becomes a very serene environment for academic work to thrive. One day, like I said, because the vehicle that was bent and the distraction, some of us said it, that if things are not put right, it is going to get worse.
At least we're seeing that directive. We're seeing that directive where, of course, council is asking that there be a temporary halt on all activities in terms of social gatherings. Some say, let's go beyond that and maybe shut down the school for a while.
Well, the school shouldn't be shut down. When you know where the problem is, you deal with the problem. The University of Ghana is not bigger than the Republic of Ghana. The University of Ghana, works within the framework of the 1992 Constitution. And so if you have few, students who are taking the law, see, you know what? It's not every student in Commonwealth Hall who is bad. And it's not every student among the Vikings who is bad. Get those who are bad, get them punished. Because for a very long time, some of these students have no business being on that campus. Because then I have intel some students who have firearms on them. Why would you want to go to school with a firearm? And as far as I'm concerned, when these things go on and on and on, you have other students who are coming in, getting emboldened. One of the challenges also had to do with those who have finished, graduated, are still residents on campus. And they've become, facilitators. They train some of these students. So as far as I'm concerned, it is a bigger challenge. And so the university would have to narrow it down. they don't have to close down the university. I mean, the university is bigger than Sarbah Hall and Commonwealth Hall. As far as I'm concerned, I think there is a challenge. I'm aware some students who were directly connected to the violence are likely to be arrested. And so as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't want to go into...
Yeah. You have some privileged knowledge there, but we'll still wait for the outcome of that meeting. And quickly, we need to wrap up, but what more do we need to know?
So this afternoon, a conversation between some leading members of the Ghana Police Service from the Greater Accra Police Command have been meeting with both management of Commonwealth Hall and Mensah Sarbah Hall. At the time I left campus, they had just finished that meeting with the Commonwealth Hall management, and they were meeting with Sarbah. What we know also is that the Pro-Vice Chancellor in charge of academics and student affairs is now meeting the police officials to try and see how they can put a lid on the situation for now. It also does not appear that management is going to go back on that decision to suspend the hall master of Commonwealth Hall and also the senior tutor. It will be interesting to see what happens in the next few days, but the residents are very angry. They say that if that decision is not reversed, as well as that decision to surcharge only them and not Mensah Sarbah Hall students, it could push them into certain form of actions. Blessed.
I call him Vandal Kweku Asante. Anyway, thanks for giving us that update from the University of Ghana.